Hey you guys, welcome back. I have been getting some really positive feedback about the videos I've been sharing more recently on some of my social media pages, and I think I've even shared a couple of them in here on my YouTube channel. Basically just kind of going into more of what I'm going through on this journey and what that looks like in my walk with the Lord, and sharing my faith and sharing the hope that God's given me. So I've done a few lives recently on Instagram and Facebook, and I feel like this is kind of where everybody's coming together with me on this journey more than the social media outlets right now at this time anyway. So I wanted to offer what I've been sharing on there over here. So anyways, I thought I would go ahead and share the live that I did today, and it's all about how God's hope does not make us ashamed. He doesn't leave us where we are. He never leaves us where we are. He's always taking us forward. And I wanted to share that with you because that's made a tremendous amount of impact through all the ups and downs of this adhesive arachnoiditis, Ehlers, Danlos, and Tarlov cyst disease journey. So if that's your thing, enjoy. So I'll just get down to why I decided to come on today. Okay, so I've been doing this Tuesday book club with some of the other people who do Young Living as a business. And it caught my attention a couple months ago because the book they were doing was one that I had read a few years ago on my healing journey. And it's a book by Carol Dweck, and it's called Mindset. And it's really meaty, awesome, thick book. But it basically breaks down the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And I want to say that I must have read that book either soon after or right before or around the same time as that shift that happened during my 7-year healing journey that I've been on, right? So a couple weeks ago, I got on a live on my personal page and I talked about how the first 4 years of this healing journey, I was trying to get back to where I was before I became completely physically disabled. And then I had this pivotal, shift with God where he was like, no, baby girl, we need to move forward. You got to move on to the future. There's something better. You don't need to go back. You need to move forward. So I was reading this morning the chapter that we had to read for our book club. And the book that we're reading now is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it's interesting because there's so many chapters in this book that are still like resonating with me, with the things that I feel like God's shown me and that I've discovered in my journey to, rewire my brain and my thoughts to heal from 3 incurable diseases, lifelong progressive diseases. And so I'll just get to it. The chapter that hit me today was chapter 10. And I get to the part of the book that says, James once heard a story about a man who uses a wheelchair. When asked if it was difficult being confined, he responded, I'm not confined to my wheelchair. I'm liberated by it. If it wasn't for my wheelchair, I would be bedbound and never able to leave my house. So this shift in perspective completely transformed how this man lived every day. And of course, if you've been following my journey for a while, you know that there was about 4.5 years where I was almost completely homebound and mostly bedbound during that time. And I was praying to be able to use a wheelchair or an electric scooter. I could not get the neuroinflammation and cerebral spinal fluid issues under control enough to even sit right here like this to do a live. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't be upright in a car. Even laying down in a car put so much pressure on my leaking spine and my adhered nerves in my spine that I would have tremors and convulsions and shakes afterwards, visual disturbances. Everything in my nervous system and central nervous system would go completely out of whack with every little tiny bump on the road. And I prayed to be able to use a wheelchair. And when that shift happened, where I moved from being able to see that I didn't need to focus on getting back to where I was before all this happened, and that God was trying to show me how to move forward and that there was something better, part of my prayer was that I would heal enough to be able to use a wheelchair. So I'm going to get emotional because something really amazing has happened in the last couple months. And God's been healing my body in ways I didn't expect. And I don't have anything to attribute to it other than God's grace. He gets all the glory. But 2 years ago, I was finally liberated by being able to use the wheelchair and go to stuff. I was able to go be at my kid's birthday party at a place where kids have birthday parties because I could be in a wheelchair. I was able to go to family events at the school, like Christmas events and seeing Santa and seeing Christmas lights outdoor at events because I could finally use a wheelchair. And that was amazing, okay? And then this last week, my family went on our first vacation in 7 years. We've known for the past year that I've improved enough to be able to try to drive more than 30 minutes away from our house, right? Because, again, during most of this time, I couldn't even drive laying down and ride, So anyways, for the last year, we knew we were ready to try. I wanted to try. My big goal was to go somewhere 2-hour drive away, because anytime we got to about an hour, that was when the convulsion type shaking would happen from my nerves being so shaken up. And I'd get the visual disturbances and all those things and pain. Pain was always an issue, but pain is something that you can sometimes get managed. But the extreme inflammation was in my central nervous system was a whole other story. And the cerebral spinal fluid leaking was a whole other story, right? So a week ago, we went on our first vacation, and here I am still super grateful that we could even think about doing it, right? And we made it. And I took one medication different. I did take one of my breakthrough pain meds, but it wasn't an opioid. And that was super amazing. I didn't have to take any extra opioids on the entire trip. And I'm already down to a third of what I was on 3 years ago. So I know I'm totally rambling. But you guys, I kayaked last week, okay? That is something that I never in a million years, I couldn't even, when I was using the wheelchair 2 years ago, I could not use my own arms to push it because of the adhesive arachnoiditis in my neck. And last week, I got to kayak. And God just has been showering me and my family with love and hope and healing all over again. And I have all these feelings like, is it going to last? Is all this going to make it progress worse again? Am I pushing too hard? And I just feel God continuing to call me forward. So anyways, all this got sparked today by this book in my book club, talking about the man in the wheelchair who wasn't confined by it, but liberated by it. And I don't know what it is that you feel stuck in your life. And I know I'm kind of chasing rabbits and going all over the place because I knew I'd get super emotional. I haven't even posted on anything on social media about the trip last week because I'm in shock and gratitude and awe and overwhelm in the most amazing way, because I believe all of the scriptures to be true on this entire journey, that God has already healed me, right? And so it was always kind of a weird thing to know that I was being healed or was healed on the cross, but yet walking out this extremely hard thing where I was homebound and bedbound for 4.5 of the last 7 years, and then slowly getting my mobility back. I don't know what you're stuck in. It doesn't have to be anything even remotely close. It could just be stuck in a mindset, right? But I just want you to know that there's always hope. And when we choose hope, sometimes it doesn't feel like there's hope, but when we choose hope, I want you to remember this one scripture that God never let me forget and still won't let me forget this entire journey, that hope maketh not ashamed. And that was really important for me because I looked like that crazy person, and I still do, for believing that I'll get healed from 3 incurable, progressive, lifelong diseases. But God always gave me hope. He has continued to shower me with hope. And when I start to feel dumb for having hope, He reminds me that the hope He's given me will not make me ashamed. That He's going to back me up. And He's going to back you up. So if there's something you're hoping for, if there's something you're feeling stuck with, I just want to encourage you with all the hope that's been given to me to hang on to it and to believe that things can change, because they absolutely can and they absolutely will. And God doesn't want us to leave us stuck where we are. Didn't want to leave me stuck in the 4 years I was trying to get back to where I was before I became disabled. He said, no, baby girl, I have hope for you, for a better future. So come with me. So I just want to leave you with that today. You guys are amazing. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share this journey online. I don't know what it's going to look like now that I'm entering, I think, a new season of more healing. But I'm going to keep sharing, and I'm going to be raw. And I'm going to keep loving you guys and sharing the hope and faith that God has given me. So I hope you guys have a blessed day. I hope you have a blessed week. And I will talk to you soon. All right. Bye.